Little girl ran to the bikers crying, "They're beating my mama." What the hell's angels did left everyone in silence. Rain poured over the quiet suburban street, turning the asphalt slick and reflective. Children's laughter had long vanished for the evening, replaced by the low rumble of thunder and distant sirens, but one sound pierced through it all, the desperate, high-pitched sobs of a little girl. She was running barefoot, her small frame shaking with fear, clutching her knees to her chest. "They're beating my mama," she screamed, voice cracking as she stumbled toward the parking lot where a group of Hell's Angels bikers had gathered, their motorcycles gleaming under the streetlights. Most people would have crossed the street or locked their doors, but not these bikers. Johnny, the largest among them with tattoos running down his arms and a face hardened by years of rough roads, looked down at the girl. "Slow down, kid," he said, his voice surprisingly gentle. She collapsed into his arms, still sobbing. "Who's hurting your mama?" The girl's words tumbled out between hiccups and tears. "Her boss. He's hitting her. She didn't do anything wrong, please." Without a word, the bikers revved their engines. They weren't here to cause trouble, but they weren't about to let anyone harm a child or her mother. Their leader, a woman named Carla, looked around. "All right, boys. Let's see what's going on." Quietly. They followed the girl to a small, dimly lit apartment building. From outside, raised voices and the sound of a scuffle could be heard. The girl froze, fear taking over again. Johnny knelt beside her. "You're safe with us. Stay right here." Inside, the scene was chaotic. A man was yelling and shoving a frail woman against the wall. But as the bikers approached, something unexpected happened. The man's bravado crumbled. He froze, eyes wide, as the room suddenly seemed smaller, suffocating under the silent but intense presence of the group. Carla stepped forward. "Leave her alone." "Now," she said firmly. Her tone brooked no argument. The man stammered, trying to find words. But the biker's sheer presence, no guns, no threats, just an unshakable aura of authority, was enough. He backed away, muttering, and then fled, leaving the mother shaking and crying but unharmed. The bikers escorted her outside, wrapped in jackets and blankets. The little girl ran into her mother's arms, and the mother whispered through tears, "I don't know how to thank you." Johnny smiled softly. "Just be safe. That's thanks enough." As the bikers mounted their motorcycles to leave, neighbors who had been watching from windows finally exhaled. No sirens, no violence, just humanity showing up where it mattered most. The little girl waved, and her mother held her tightly, both of them smiling through their tears. That night, a group of people often feared and misunderstood had reminded an entire street what real courage and kindness looked like. Sometimes heroes aren't in capes. Sometimes they ride motorcycles and answer a little girl's cry. And in that quiet, rain-soaked street, hope was louder than fear. The next morning, the rain had stopped, leaving the streets glistening and quiet. Birds chirped nervously, as if the world itself was trying to heal after the night's storm. The little girl, Emily, and her mother Sarah were sitting on their apartment steps, wrapped in warm blankets the bikers had left behind. Emily's eyes sparkled with gratitude but also curiosity. "Mom, who were they?" she asked, voice small. Sarah smiled faintly, still shaken. They're bikers, honey. People ride motorcycles. But sometimes even tough people have the kindest hearts." Emily frowned. "But Mom, they looked scary." She mimicked a tough biker stance, puffing her chest. "And they're huge." "But they helped us?" Sarah nodded. "Yes. Sometimes the people we fear the most turn out to be heroes." That evening, Sarah decided it was time to face what had happened. She filed a report with the police recounting the attack, but she also made sure to tell them about the bikers. The officers exchanged glances, clearly surprised by her story, but Sarah insisted they be recognized for their courage. Word began to spread through the neighborhood. At first, people whispered, "Did you see the bikers last night? They just stood there," and that man left. Slowly, admiration replaced fear. A week later, Emily was at the local park when she spotted a group of motorcycles pulling up. Her heart leapt. Could it be them? To her surprise, Carla stepped off her bike, holding a small bouquet of wildflowers. "Emily, we thought you might like these," she said with a grin. Emily ran into Carla's arms, laughing through tears. "You came back," she shouted. Johnny and the others waved from their bikes. "We just wanted to make sure you're okay." Johnny said softly. And remind you, bravery comes in all shapes and sizes. Even little girls can be brave. Sarah, standing a few steps back, felt a surge of gratitude and relief. She realized something profound. Kindness is contagious. The biker's simple act had sparked hope not just in her, but in the entire neighborhood. From that day on, Emily often visited the bikers at the local cafe they frequented, learning about motorcycles, tattoos, and the strange, wonderful stories they carried. But more importantly, she learned about empathy, courage, and standing up for others. Months later, Sarah started volunteering at a local shelter, helping women in need. She often told Emily, "Remember the bikers? They showed us that standing up for someone doesn't require a medal, it just requires a heart." And Emily, small but unshakably brave, smiled. She had seen kindness in its rawest, most unexpected form, and it had changed her forever. The neighborhood, once skeptical of the Hells Angels, had a new story to tell. Not about danger or rebellion, but about humanity, courage, and hope. Because sometimes heroes ride in on roaring engines, but they leave behind something far louder: love.